friends, and welcome back. So maybe like a month ago now, I did a video where I showed you how I start my paintings, and we went through and did the acrylic background for this one and for two others in different series. And then at some point I'm pretty sure I did a progress report, but now they're all done. So I thought I would do one more video to show you how they all turned out and update you on a couple other new pieces that I have. And then like I said with the lightning painting, I did end up not doing that one for this month's paint night, but I have what I ended up doing, and I've got that one to show you as well. That one actually ended up being a study for a painting that will be the first in a longer series. So that one will be fun to show you, that'll be near the end. But let's start here. So as you guys know, I'm doing a lightning series that'll be up on my website as soon as that launches. I am hoping for at least 5 pieces in each collection. And I think this is the last in the lightning collection. So I haven't figured out a name for it. It might just be lightning. I need to name each of the individual pieces yet, but we'll get there when we get there. For now, this is what is probably the last in the lightning series. I tried to stick with this kind of blues, purples, pinks theme for the whole thing. One thing with when you're looking at it like this is it doesn't quite look correct because it will be hung at least an inch apart, if not a little bit more than that. So it lines up a little bit too well. Once you separate it, I think it just works a lot better. And I have been doing a bunch of classes online and learning a bunch of new techniques, particularly with clouds and even with lightning. So I am actually really excited with how these both turned out. And I absolutely love how this water turned out. I had been thinking that I would do maybe like some grass and then a tree and then try to have the tree being struck by lightning, but it didn't really seem to match the tone of the rest of the series, and I would have had to have added like a fair bit of green to make it work, and that just, it wasn't meshing, and I really wanted to try this technique for water. So I'm super content with how this turned out, really happy with it. And I actually only finished this one a couple of days ago. It had been almost done for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I finally looked over and went, I'm just gonna finish it. It's almost done. It literally, all it needed was like 2 more clouds and then the lightning and a little bit of the white accent. That's it. So it literally took me like 10 minutes to finish it. But it had just been sitting there for forever because it was only going to take me 10 minutes to finish it. And when I stopped, I didn't have the time that day to finish it. So just a whole thing, but it's done now. Yay! So that's the first one. The second one, I think this one was almost done when I showed you guys the progress report. But I have added, since then, a bit more green. I added some more detail here. I added the speckling, and I absolutely love this one. This is the 3rd in this series. She might be the final in the series. I'm undecided. I have other reference photos that I could use to continue the series, but I have 3 in the series, like I said, and I don't know that it needs anything more than that. I just don't. Let me see if I can show you guys this one a little bit closer without catching the light too much. Again, I have not named this series. It was not originally intended to be a series. If you've been following me on Instagram, then you know. When I first moved into my house, I did the first in the series, and I posted that on Instagram, so it would have been a little over a year ago now, I believe. That one's called Becoming, and I absolutely love it. It's hanging in my dining room. Love it. Didn't think it was gonna be a series, had no intention of making it into a series, and then some inspiration struck maybe around Christmas-ish, and I did a second one in the series, which I have no idea if I've shown you. And then around the time that we did the backgrounds video, I had the idea for this one. So it's kind of up in the air. It depends on if the mood strikes me to do another all acrylic Space Lady series painting. So it just depends. It's not on the radar at the moment, but I do have more reference photos saved for it just in case. I could see it going up to 5 or 6 paintings in the series, but I'm also really happy with where it is right now. So tentatively it'll be at least 3 pieces in that series. I don't know that I will ever be able to part with the original Becoming. I absolutely adore that piece, but the other 2 I plan on selling the originals and prints. So there's that. But this series has this common thread of there being like a white orb and a woman's outline with kind of celestial spacey hair, and 2 of the paintings the woman is blowing these little white orbs that are probably creating the larger one, and one of them she's creating the orbs from her hand. So it's just kind of this theme of these women who are creating in some form or fashion and creating beauty in the world around them and having that little bit of chaos surrounding them, because I feel like we as women, we all just kind of have at least a little bit of chaos surrounding us. It just happens. So, where do I put this? The third one that we looked at, was this guy, who is one of the biggest paintings that I've done. I haven't really gone beyond this canvas size. I don't think this is the biggest canvas size that I've done. But here I just wanted to try something new and different, and again I wanted to play with cloud textures, and I was playing a lot with kind of grass textures and rocks, and this is the first tree I've really done in this style, and it turned out so well. I am really happy with it, and of course my signature little fox. So this one will be listed on my website. This is part of the Fox in the Forest series. What did I name this one? Autumn Sleep. No idea what parts of the painting you can see right now. I'm behind it. But this one too, I just finished a couple of days ago. I have actually finished other paintings in the middle of working on these 3. My intention when I started them was to just do these 3 and kind of just show you guys along the way the process, and instead I just worked on a bunch of other little things in the middle. So I don't know. As we all know, I'm a little bit scatterbrained as an artist. I have a hard time working on only one thing at once. So I actually finished I finished 2 and started 1 other painting in between. No, 3. I finished 3 and started 1 other painting in between all of these. And I will show you 2 of those 3, because you've already seen the other one, because it's the lightning one that we did together. So I will show you the other 2 in a moment, but I'm really happy with this one. I have been taking some lessons in gouache technique since I am pretty new to it, and it really does work differently from acrylic. So I had been trying to just use what I knew about acrylic and apply it to gouache, but it wasn't working. Gouache and acrylic, even though I am using acrylic gouache, like they just don't work the same because gouache acts like watercolor. Even when it's acrylic gouache, it has very different capabilities from what acrylic can do. So I've been taking some online classes and I have learned so much, and I've only been taking these classes for like 2 months. So super worth it if you are wanting to get serious about painting but you're not super sure in your own skills. Just find some online classes. I'm taking classes from Ruth Wilshaw. I'll put a link to Get Gouache in the description so you guys can check it out. She's got all sorts of tutorials in there, and even if you just paid for like a month and just tried to like soak it all in, you'd get a ton out of it. She's a really good teacher. She's got lots of expertise, lots of tutorials on there. I'm pretty sure she has some free videos on YouTube that you can watch as well. If I can find those, I'll post a link for that as well. But like I said, I've just learned a ton from her. A lot of these grass and rock techniques are directly from her lessons. This tree is from her teaching. She did a video on just like a basic tree, and I took it and rolled with it, and I made this guy, and I frickin' love how this tree turned out. Frickin' love it. The biggest one that I did, though, that is from her teaching, I did a study for, and the study is the one that I will be teaching at my paint night, and it's this one. So I wanted to stick with the lightning theme and just do something a little bit different. I thought that the ladies in the class would like this a little bit more. It's, how do I explain why? It has a little bit more visual interest, and it's more than 3 colors. See if you guys can see this if I bring it close and kind of tilt it. So we still have the same kind of blue sky and similarly colored clouds, and we still have the moon and the lightning, but I added colored hills in the foreground, and I tried to make the lightning kind of lighting up this section of this hill, but keeping this one dark because the lightning is behind it. I thought that was a kind of fun technique, and that should be really fun to teach the ladies. And again, this was just a study that I wanted to do for a different piece that I was working on, which I will show you in a second. So I don't normally do studies. A study is basically when you do like a preemptive painting. That's to get all of your ideas in order so that when you start the actual painting, you have a better idea of what you're doing. So this was a study, and I'm kind of training myself to do them a little bit more and to kind of use like my cheaper canvases or my watercolor paper and stuff like that to do studies, so that when I get to the full canvas, I have more of an idea of what I'm doing, and I don't feel like I'm wasting paint and wasting space and wasting time trying to like learn on the canvas. So that was the study. And this is the full acrylic final piece. This is called An Adventure Begins, and it features our little red fox and our little purple fairy. This again was based on a lot of Ruth Wilshaw classes. I used a lot of her techniques for the foliage, for the grass, for the clouds, for the sky, for the rock wall. She showed some videos on how to do rocks in general, and I kind of pulled those together and came up with the rock wall idea myself. And I am so in love with this piece. Like I said, this will be the start of a series, so expect to see these 2 characters some more. But I did show a piece of this one on Instagram, so I wanted to make sure that we talked about it at least a little bit on the channel. I think this one turned out so cool. some of the acrylic is showing through in the sky, but it really doesn't bother me. It just kind of adds a subtle little highlight into things, and I think that looks kind of cool. So I'm not upset with it, and I'm not planning on doing anything to fix it. I'm honestly thrilled with this piece. This took me probably about 2 weeks to finish, and again, I wasn't working on it constantly. It wasn't the only thing I was working on. I was working on other pieces. I was working. I was doing all sorts of other stuff. So all in all, I would estimate that this probably took me about 10 hours to paint, which I'm pretty pleased with considering the amount of detail that I put into it, and considering this was my first ever rock wall. And honestly, this is like my first shaped stone ever. I hadn't even considered doing something like that. I've done rocks before, like I showed you on the last big piece that had those rocks over here in the grass. I've done those a few times, but I hadn't ever shaped them into something. I hadn't ever thought of putting grout between them and making a wall. There's just a lot of things in this particular piece that I had never done before, and so this is honestly a really huge accomplishment for me, and I'm just really excited with how it turned out. I'm stoked with this piece. I'm really excited to see where the rest of the series goes. I've got templates made up. I'm going to work on some more studies in the next couple of weeks, and this isn't a series that I expect to be done before next year, but I will try to show you little glimpses of the series along the way. I was just too excited about this one, and I wanted you guys to see it now. Plus, like I said, I've shown a little bit on Instagram. I know, I'm sorry, I have not posted on Instagram in forever. I posted this. I posted about a baby kingbird in my yard. Then I haven't posted. I keep trying. I keep thinking of things that I should post, and then I don't do it. I'm sure many of you know that feeling. So I'm trying. I will keep trying, but at least you know I'm on YouTube. So if you want, you can go follow me on Instagram. I do try to post sneak peeks there occasionally, but you always know I'll be here because that was my New Year's resolution. I don't really make those, but you know how it is. My goal for the year is to actually post on YouTube regularly on a schedule. Every 2 weeks, here I am. Anyway, I think that is all of the new pieces that I have to show you. But thank you all for sticking around and checking out my artwork. I will, of course, keep you posted as to when the website will launch. And maybe we'll do a little launch party online or something. Maybe we could do a live video if you guys want. We'll see. Probably late summer, early fall. So it'll be a bit. Anywho, you guys have a fabulous week. And I will see you next time with a whole new video. Bye!